It was Monday morning at Green Hill Elementary. The kids in Class 5B were super bored. Their old teacher, Mrs. Snoosemore, had retired. Everyone wondered who the new teacher would be. Hopefully someone not totally ancient, or someone who didn't assign homework on the first day. That would be awesome.
The classroom clock ticked very, very slowly. Tick-tock, tick-tock, it felt like an eternity.
Some kids were doodling, others were staring out the window. Suddenly a blue whoosh! A streak of color zipped into the room, papers flew everywhere, pencils rolled off desks. The wind messed up everyone's hair.
What was that?
The kids blinked. Standing at the front of the class was a blue hedgehog. He had big green eyes, and cool red sneakers. He grinned a super big grin. This was definitely not Mrs. Snoosemore. This was way more exciting, or maybe way more terrifying.
Hey everyone, name's Sonic, Mr. Sonic to you.
He tapped his foot really fast. Tap, 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 tap. The kids just stared. Their mouths were wide open. A hedgehog? A talking hedgehog as their teacher? This had to be a dream, or maybe a prank.
No problem, Principal P, we're just getting warmed up. All right, class, first up, math.
He zoomed to the blackboard. He wrote math in giant, speedy letters. A collective groan went through the room. Math was the worst. It was slow. It was boring. It was full of numbers that didn't make sense. How could a super-fast hedgehog teach something so slow? This was probably going to be a disaster. A really fast disaster, maybe. But still a disaster. Everyone braced themselves for boring equations.
Who said math has to be slow? We're going to make math fast.
He held up a shiny gold ring.
If I collect 200 rings in 10 seconds, how many rings per second is that?
Before anyone could even find a pencil, Sonic was tapping his foot.
Come on, slowpokes, think fast!
He wasn't kidding, he really expected them to be fast. This was a whole new kind of math pressure, not the show your work kind, more like the don't get left in the dust kind. A few brave kids shouted answers.
10, S2, 20.
Sonic zipped to each kid who answered. He gave a high five for correct answers. He gave a playful noogie for wrong ones.
Okay, gang, time to learn about the past, the fast past.
He spun around so quickly he looked like a blue tornado. Most history lessons involved dusty old books, and memorizing dates that nobody cared about, like who really needed to know when the Battle of Boringburg happened. The kids prepared for another round of trying to stay awake. History was usually a nap-time subject, but Sonic had other ideas.
History isn't just dates and names, it's about action, adventure, and really fast people.
He then announced they were going to reenact the famous Pony Express. But without the ponies.
I'll be the pony!
He grabbed a satchel full of important historical documents. These were actually just permission slips for the school picnic. But Sonic made them sound super important. He was good at that. Sonic then zipped around the classroom. He dodged desks.
Science time, everyone. Today's topic, speed and its best friend, friction, or its enemy, depending on how you look at it.
The kids perked up. Science could be fun, especially if it involved explosions, or goo, or things that went whiz. Sonic seemed like the kind of teacher who would definitely approve of things that went whiz. Maybe even things that exploded a little bit. This could be good. Sonic then decided to demonstrate friction, or rather, the lack of it. He took a running start, then he slid across the freshly polished classroom floor. He slid so fast and so far he almost went out the open window.
Tails gasped.
Amy shrieked. Sonic managed to stop just in time. He was grinning.
Less friction means more speed.
He explained, as if almost flying out a window was a normal science demo. To make it more interactive, Sonic set up a tiny ramp on his desk. He told the kids they were going to test the aerodynamics of different objects. Mostly, this meant erasers and paper clips, and one of Knuckles' lost crayons.
Ready, set, launch.
The kids flicked their erasers. Section 5. Classroom redecoration, Sonic style. One morning Sonic looked around the classroom. He tapped his foot. Tap, tap, tap. Sonic as narrator. This place is too square, he announced. Too many straight lines. Not enough zoom. The kids looked around. It looked like a normal classroom to them. Desks in rows, posters on the wall, a blackboard. What was wrong with that? Mrs. Snoosemore liked it this way. It was very organized, and very, very quiet. Sonic clearly had different ideas about classroom design. Sonic as narrator. "We need to make learning an adventure," Sonic declared. His eyes sparkled with a new, crazy idea. "Let's redecorate." Before anyone could say, "But what about the fire code?" Sonic was a blue blur. Desks were suddenly pushed against the walls, chairs were stacked in a corner. He unrolled a long blue mat. He brought in some big red hoops from the gym. He even found some old tires. Nobody knew where he got the tires from. It was a mystery. In about 60 seconds, the classroom was transformed. It was no longer Class 5B. It was Sonic's Super Speedy Obstacle Course Fun Zone. Sonic as narrator. To answer a math problem, you had to run the mat. Next door to Sonic's chaotic classroom was Class 5A. Class 5A was taught by Dr. Eggman. Dr. Eggman was a very round man. He had a giant mustache. He loved order. He loved quiet. He loved robots that did exactly what he said. He did not love noise. And he especially did not love hedgehogs. Especially blue ones that ran very fast and caused trouble. He could hear the thumps and shouts from Sonic's room all day.
This is unacceptable.
Dr. Eggman believed in traditional learning. This meant sitting still, reading thick books, writing long essays, no running, no shouting, no fun. His students were very smart. They were also very quiet, and a little bit pale from never seeing the sun. Dr. Eggman was proud of his students' high test scores. He was not proud of the happy screaming coming from Class 5B. It was distracting and undignified, and it made his head hurt. One day, Dr. Eggman had enough. He stomped over to Sonic's classroom. He peeked inside. His eyes grew wide. He saw kids jumping through hoops. Principal Prickly Pine was in a pickle. A very prickly pickle. On one hand, Sonic's students seemed happy, and surprisingly, their quick recall was improving. On the other hand, Dr. Eggman was threatening to build a giant robot to enforce silence. The principal needed a solution, a fair solution, and maybe a solution that would get everyone to be quiet for a day. Then he had an idea, a brilliant, slightly desperate idea.
A competition.
The news spread through Green Hill Elementary like wildfire, or like Sonic running down the hallway. Class 5B, Mr. Sonic's Speedy students versus Class 5A, Dr. Eggman's Studious scholars. It would be a battle of teaching methods, a test of knowledge, and because Sonic was involved, probably a test of speed too. The winning class would get a giant trophy, and bragging rights for the rest of the year. The teachers got involved too. This was serious business. Dr. Eggman was delighted.
Finally, a chance to prove that my methods are superior.
His students immediately started studying harder. They reviewed their notes, they memorized facts, they practiced their long division. They were like little academic robots, very serious, very focused. They were determined to crush Sonic's chaotic class. Competition day arrived. The school gym was packed. Students from all grades came to watch. Principal Prickly Pine looked nervous. He just hoped the gym would still be standing by the end. The first event was Quiz Bowl Bonanza. Dr. Eggman smirked. This was his student's strong suit. The questions were tough.
What is the capital of Patagonia?
Eggman's student, a serious boy named Metalhead, not really but close, slowly raised his hand.
Buenos Aires.
He said correctly. Sonic's students tried their best. When a question was asked, Amy would shout an answer super fast. Sometimes it was right. Sometimes it was creative.
What's the square root of 64?
Good energy, Zuma.
Eggman's team was racking up points with their slow, careful, correct answers. Sonic's team was racking up enthusiasm. After the quiz, Eggman's team was way ahead. Dr. Eggman looked very smug. Next up, the obstacle course of knowledge. This was Sonic's territory. Students had to run an obstacle course, then answer a question at the end. Eggman's students were very careful. They climbed over the mini wall slowly. They tiptoed through the tires. They got to the end, answered correctly, but took ages. Then it was Sonic's team's turn. It was eruption time. Dr. Eggman's team carefully poured their special mixture into their perfect volcano. A small, polite fizz emerged. Red foamy stuff oozed neatly down the side.
A scientifically accurate representation.
Dr. Eggman announced proudly. The crowd clapped politely. It was a very good volcano. Very educational. Very neat. It was exactly what you'd expect from Dr. Eggman's class. Predictable, but correct in every single way. Then it was Sonic's team's turn. They dumped a bucket of mysterious ingredients into their messy volcano. Sonic gave a thumbs up.
Stand back, folks!
He yelled, "Kaboom!" The volcano erupted with a shower of glitter and rainbow foam, and strangely, the faint smell of chili dogs. It wasn't scientifically accurate at all. It was messy. It was loud. It was totally over the top. The kids in the audience went wild. They cheered and screamed. It was the best volcano eruption ever. Principal Prickly Pine looked at the judges. The judges looked at each other. They looked at the neat volcano. They looked at the glitter-covered, chili dog-smelling volcano. It was a tough call, but the sheer joy and teamwork from Sonic's class was undeniable.
The winner is Class 5B, Mr. Sonic's Speedy students.
Sonic's class cheered. They jumped up and down. They had won!
Bah, humbug, this is an outrage, a travesty of education.